everyone. I am Sean, and welcome once again to my Horror Corner. As always, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. And for those of you that have been subscribing, a special thank you to you. All of your support really means so much to me. So thank you. Today, I am super excited to have a guest with me. I have Brendan from Our Life in Horror. Brendan, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you so much for coming on.
Excellent. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah.
Of course, I am a duo, but the better half is not feeling too well today. So you're stuck with me.
Hey, that's perfectly all right. We'll miss Sam, and she can tell us what she thinks next time you guys are on. So we talked about Hatchet last month,
Mhm.
and today we're going to be talking about Hatchet 2. Before I get into any major things about it, let me just ask you up front your overall, like, not really your rating, but like just overall thoughts on this one. Do you, so did you know about this one when it came out? Were you excited because of the first one, or did you just stumble upon it? Like, where do you go with this movie?
I think I fell behind on this franchise pretty early. So I knew about the first one and I watched that and then I just never returned to it. So I maybe have seen this one and I don't think I returned to the whole franchise again until showing Sam.
Okay.
So then we did like a full 1 through 4, almost 4 days in a row, back to back watch of each movie.
Okay.
Um, I think this movie is slightly better than the first one in some aspects,
Okay.
and not quite as good in other aspects. I think it kind of evens itself out. I think it's almost on par with the first movie.
Okay.
I mean, you get some drastic changes, like the lead is drastically changed, um, just like actresses. So it's always kind
Right.
of jarring to see that.
Yeah.
Um, and I know in our previous episode, I was like bashing on it pretty hard, and I don't know how I feel about it after this time's rewatch.
Okay.
I actually softened up on Danielle Harris in this rewatch,
Okay.
which is surprising. But I think the gore is still good for sure. I do think there's some issues that maybe showcase a little too much of Victor Crowley in this movie, and it kind of doesn't make him look too good.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Okay.
overall, I think it's a solid installment in this franchise.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I agree with you. It's going to be interesting to talk about because I kind of feel the same way. There are some things about this that I really like, and then there are some other things that I'm not sure about. So yeah, it'll be interesting to get into and talk about that. But I'm going to ask you first, based on what you just said a minute ago. So are you not overall a Danielle Harris fan, or you like her, you just wasn't sure about her in this?
So I haven't seen too many movies where I actually like her as a character. Um,
Okay.
so so I just watched her. We just watched her in what was it? See No Evil 2.
Okay.
I thought she was fantastic in that. I thought she
Right.
was great. She was
I
great
agree.
in Rob Zombie's Halloween movies. But like other than that, I haven't seen her in too much. I'm trying to think of an example where she wasn't very good, but
Okay.
um this beforehand would have been my example.
Okay.
Where I think it was maybe a little overrated, but
Okay.
she wasn't too bad in this. And like I haven't seen Halloween 4 or 5 since high school, so I
Right.
can't can't really comment on her child acting, but that's of course everybody's go-to when you talk about Danielle Harris. But
Yeah.
I'm I'm wondering after last night's rewatch if Sam has softened up on Danielle as well.
Okay. So Sam
Because
was
yeah,
kind of harsh on her as well.
oh before, oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Like me and her were like we're set in stone. Like bring the original actress back. I think we both think that she did a great job. And now I'm not saying the tables have turned. I didn't mind her as much in this one. I'm curious to see where it goes with the third one because of course she comes back for the play Mary
Right.
Beth once again. And maybe that's where it turns for me. I just can't remember, but I thought she was good in this movie.
Okay. I'm I'm actually a pretty big fan of hers. However, I will say that I have seen her in some things where I don't think she's great, and it always disappoints me because I think she. I mean, I just watched the Halloweens not that long ago. I thought she was very good as a child actress. I think she's great in Rob Zombie's Halloween movies. I don't like her character so much, but I think she does a good job of it. Um, but yeah, I've seen some things here and there where it always disappoints me because I consider myself a huge fan of her, and some of the performances I'm like, oh, that was rough. Maybe we won't go
Mhm.
back and watch that one. But this one, yeah, well, when we get into the characters of the cast, I'll kind of share my thoughts on that as well. But this one, my opinion changed as well, and so I'll talk about why once we get into that. So, before we actually get into the movie, I'll give some information here about it, like I always do. Very quick overview from the Rotten Tomatoes website. Basically, just says a woman returns to the Louisiana swamps to seek revenge against a maniacal killer. That's it. But I mean, that basically does sum it up. Hatchet 2 was released August 26, 2010 at Fright Fest, and then on October 1st of 2010 throughout the United States. Directed and written by Adam Green again, produced by Derek Curl, Sarah Elbert, and Corey Neal. Cinematography by Will Barrett, edited by Ed Marks. Music by Andy Garfield. Production companies Dark Sky Films and Aroscope Pictures, distributed by Dark Sky. Runtime of only 85 minutes. The budget I had a hard time finding. I finally did find right before I got online here that there was an estimated budget of 800,000. I'm not sure how accurate that is. The box office numbers was only 156,000. So if that's the case, it didn't do well at all at the box office. Critic scores, Rotten Tomato scores, 44% from critics, 36% from the audience, and its IMDb score is 5.5 out of 10. The critics' consensus says that Hatchet 2 is funnier and more gory than most slasher sequels. It aims for so bad it's good territory, but doesn't quite hack it. Cast for this film, and then we'll get into kind of what I was saying a while ago. Kane Hodder returns as Victor Crowley, Danielle Harris as Mary Beth, Tony Todd returns as Reverend Zombie, Perry Shin returns as well. This time he's Justin. Tom Holland as Bob. R.A. I never pronounce this guy's name right. R.A. Milahoff, maybe, as Trent. Um, I'll stop there. There's a lot of people in this movie, but that's kind of the big names. I had forgot that Tom Holland was in this until I watched this again a couple of days ago to get ready for this. Did you remember that?
I was trying to pinpoint who he was, and I was also going to look it up before we got on here because I was like, I know that guy somewhere. So he directed Child's Play, right? Like that's Tom
Child's
Holland.
Play and Psycho 2, I believe, are two of his biggest things. And for some reason, I think he had something to do with Fright Night as well, but I might be the
I think
original Fright Night.
yeah, I think he directed Fright Night, and then I
Okay.
think I saw Larry Cohen in there as well, or
Uh, you may have.
um, who is it? He's like the big B movie guy. Um, he's like a big producer,
Okay.
but he's there. He's also in there. I don't know if it's Larry Cohen or it's it's one of those names.
Okay. I just forgot
Mm.
that Tom Holland was in it. I mean, as soon as I saw him, I recognized him. But I think when I was watching it the other day to get ready for this and his name popped up on the screen, I was just like, Tom Holland's in this movie? Like, I don't remember that at all. But then, yeah, when I saw him, I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, there he is. I had just completely forgot about that. We were talking about Daniel Harris. I'll say this and then I'm going to ask you a question. But I think the first time I saw this movie was one of those times where, like I was talking about a while ago, I was a little bit disappointed because I am a fan of hers, and seeing this, I think I like you, I was a little behind on this franchise. I didn't see them when they first came out. Um, I think the first two were out by the time that I got to watch either one of them, and I watched them fairly close together. Um, and I thought the girl that played Mary Beth in the first one, and I'm drawing a blank on her name right now, but I thought she did such a good job that even though I love Danielle Harris, I was just kind of disappointed. It just, I don't know, it didn't hit the same as that first one. But like you were saying, after I rewatched it a couple of days ago, I'm like, oh, Danielle Harris is fine. So I really think for me, it was just more of having to make that adjustment that this is a different actress playing this character, and it's not going to be the exact same. I think that's where I stood on it because I don't really think Daniel Harris did a bad job. I think I just was thrown off the first time, maybe.
Yeah, definitely could see that, and I do think the Mary Beth from the first one. I think she owns that character. in the first movie. Anyways, I like how she's like brooding and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, she's very unapproachable, I guess, is kind of what I like. And I feel like Daniel Harris just kind of projects like approach me instead of I'm an unapproachable person. So
Yeah, I agree with you. I was thinking the same thing when I was watching it. Because I was like, the character doesn't seem the same. It almost seems like a completely different person. And I can see where I think they tried to push that and add it in there. You know, there's one scene where they're on the boat and they're headed out to hunt for Victor, and this guy starts hitting on her and ask her what she's doing there, and she tries then to be kind of like standoffish. She's like, "Well, I'm not looking for a date," but even then, it doesn't sound like the girl from the first film, and it almost sounds like playful. So
yeah,
I'm
no,
just
that's
like,
I was
yeah,
about to say that. Yeah, it sounds like she's almost like slightly flirting back, but not
yeah,
really. Yeah,
I completely
yeah,
agree. Yeah,
yeah, and like I feel like she because yeah, like you said, it almost feels like two different characters. And to be fair, she's not really the center focus of this movie either.
right. That's true.
Um, like I feel like her screen time is pretty limited actually. Just because it's such a like halfway through the movie it becomes a full ensemble piece and
Right.
you're introduced to the group of Louisiana gator hunters,
Yeah.
um colorful bunch of characters that they are. um but yeah, she just needed some more time, I think, and to be more standoffish. Like the only time she really gets any time to be like that strong person is at the end of the movie.
Right.
And like it's awesome at the end of the movie, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but it would have been nice to have seen all the way through. It's almost like she gets Uncle Bob, and then Uncle Bob is kind of like her crutch throughout the whole thing.
Right.
You know, she relies on him too much.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely agree. And yeah, the character just seems so different. So yeah, I agree with you there. And I still think while we're on that, I think everybody else does a good job. To me, just like I said about the first thing, I think the thing that, in my opinion, is the biggest attraction to this movie, or at least to get people in, is that cast, right? Because in the first one, you get Jason, Freddy, and Candyman in the first one, and so now here in this one again, you've got Jason back for the most part, Kane Hodder, you get Tony Todd back, but then you also add in Danielle Harris, you add in Tom Holland, and again this R.A. and I do not know how to pronounce this guy's name. I keep messing it up. Like I don't know. It's Hailoff, however you say that. But he played Leatherface in I think it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, or Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. So, you kind of get another draw like that. And I mean, I know for me, when I first heard of these movies, the cast is what made me want to watch them, because seeing like a trailer or just somebody else telling me about it, and me just like going and catching a glimpse, I thought it looked really cheap and I wasn't sure about it. But knowing who was in it, I'm like, no, I still want to watch this though, just to see what it's like. So the cast is what draws me into this film,
Okay.
initially at least.
I'm pretty sure Sean Ashmore is also in this for like a split
Yeah,
second.
a split second. Yeah, he gets his face cut off, I think, if I
Yeah.
remember
Okay.
correctly.
You also saw that?
I did see that. Yeah, and that surprised me as well when I saw that part. I'm like, oh, and I couldn't remember his name, but yeah, as soon as you said that, I'm like, yeah. But when I saw it, I'm like, I know that guy too. I know that
Yes.
guy.
And he's
Yeah,
like a huge horror alumni. Like really, like
yeah.
if you go look at his filmography, it's like at least three-quarters horror movies, and they're all
Hmm.
fairly good. So
Is he the one that's got a twin? I think.
yes, he does.
Okay, I thought so. Um, yeah. Any other thoughts as far as the cast, performances, characters, that kind of thing?
I mean, like the most notable is probably Tony Todd, right? Like he is
Right.
just a, a screen presence that can like nobody can compare, especially in this movie. Like he is
Yeah.
just so theatrical, we'll say. Like he looks like he is having so much fun with his character and his hand
Yeah.
movements, and
Right.
it almost throws you off because you're not expecting him to do stuff like that, but you got to remember he's like a gypsy or like some kind
Yeah.
of um but like when he's like, you know, just like
Yeah.
just all the time.
All the voodoo stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, so I'm going to ask you this as well, because I was thinking about this and I thought I might get into it later, but since we're talking about the characters and the cast, I'm going to go ahead and ask you right now. In the first movie, I absolutely love the Reverend Zombie character. Absolutely love him. Um, I'm not sure in this movie. I love Tony Todd, and the performance is great, so I don't mean it that way at all. But we kind of get the more crooked, like maniacal side here of Reverend Zombie, and he was so likable in the first. I kind of hate that it went that way in this one. I mean, it makes sense for what the plot's doing, but what were your thoughts?
I mean, Reverend Zombie through and through as a businessman, and you kind of get that through the first movie, and it's just a short
Right,
amount of screen time he has. He doesn't want to lose money from people slipping on his step and breaking their hip. So
right,
it does make sense for him to be doing these back swamp tours like through the back door for cash or whatever, and kind of screwing the government
sure,
however he can. Um, and yeah, to open it back up would just be like more business for him, right? He's going to get more
right.
cash flow, and he's probably going to be a little better off. Do I think he thought his plan through at all? No. But when you're dealing with Mary Beth, who's like, I'm going to go back tonight, like
Right,
24 less than 24 hours later, he's just going to make a educated guess and a decision on what could stop Victor Crowley, so he could go back into the
right.
woods. And of course, why not bring in a bunch of cannon fire with him too? Like, he's got like what? There's like 10 guys. He brings in 10
Yeah,
hunters, I
something
think.
like that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I like your way of putting it because I totally get the business side. Um, just the fact that he was willing to sacrifice some people, I was like, that sucks because I really like this guy. I hate that he's just willing to let these people get killed, but I get it. It makes sense.
I mean, I mean, it seems like all these people have been screwed by him once before. So I don't think he
It's true.
truly cares at all about these people. Everybody
It's
says that
probably
they want
true.
the cash up front and
Right.
whatnot. So yeah, I don't think he just needed some extra bodies to be in the way so he could try to complete his plan.
Okay. That makes sense. That's fair enough. Um, only thing I have as far as behind the scenes thing, just two things I want to mention. So Adam Green says that this film is actually his favorite in the Hatchet franchise. And then to keep details under wraps, the cast and crew only received selected pages of the script. Fake scripts, fake endings, and fake storylines were circulated throughout the industry to keep everything as secretive and hidden as possible. Um, that surprises me a little bit because Hatchet's not it's not like we're talking the next Nightmare on Elm Street or the next, Halloween. I didn't think it would be that big a deal on this one, but yeah, they were really trying to keep this stuff pretty quiet. It seems like.
That's pretty surprising because this isn't like Scream. You
Right.
know,
Exactly.
we know it's Victor Crowley killing these
Yeah.
people in funny, ridiculous ways. Like that's not something that the general public would be disappointed. It'd probably just get them more excited to go see the film.
Yeah, I thought so too. So yeah, I was surprised about that as well. All right. Well, we're going to get into the plot. I've kind of got this broken down into 5 sections. We may stick with that. We may not. We'll just see how it goes. But uh, first of all, the film picks up immediately after the first hatchet. We get Mary Beth being attacked by Victor. She seems to escape again. And then Jack Cracker, who was in the first film as well, he ends up finding her and brings her back to his place. But then he ends up forcing her to leave after he finds out exactly who she is. And then once she leaves, of course, Victor comes in and kills him. What were your thoughts on the opening? Do you like the start? You liked where we're going? Jack Cracker's character kind of finding out, him freaking out about her last name. What were your thoughts where the opening is concerned?
I love when a sequel picks up directly when it left off because it makes it more double feature worthy, I guess,
Yeah,
because you can just throw the second one on and boom. It's not like um, I'm repping all Evil Dead stuff right now, and of
that's all
course
right.
I'm going to use this as a reference. I'm not saying that it's bad in any ways, but the Evil Dead franchise was so notorious for losing its rights to its previous films, so they could never actually use archival footage from the first film to tie into the second one. So they had to go back and reshoot, a segment to kind of explain what happened in the last film
Right.
all on their own. This doesn't have that. It just goes bang right back into it, which I really
Yeah,
like. And Jack Cracker's funny. Like throughout that whole conversation, like you're just sitting there, like I literally wrote my notes. Don't drink the piss
I
because
know.
but I do think the opening kill there was a little lackluster as well, like for Jack Cracker. of course it's like a cut off camera. It starts out cool, and
Yeah,
then we get a lot of these actually in this movie, which is a cut to the wall or cut to the tree, and it's all blood
the
splatter on
blood
the
spray.
tree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with you. I like the opening as well. We've already talked about Danielle Harris. One thing I was going to mention, but I was primarily just going to mention it to Sam, but I'm still going to say it. If she sees this later, you can tell her whatever. You know, when we talked about the first movie, Sam and I really liked that Marilyn Manson song that kicked things off when that first one opened up. Uh, this song is nowhere near as good. I did not get the same feeling when this song kicks in. Um, so yeah, I wanted to point out that song is nowhere near as fun. I agree with you. I thought the kill was a little bit off, but at the same time, it's crazy enough that I think again, it's just like, all right, yeah, this is Hatchet. This is what we're in for, and it's just kind of setting the tone for what's coming. Yeah, I thought Jack Cracker was funny, and I do appreciate. I was going to talk about this more in the next section, but I'm going to go ahead and briefly mention it here. You know, I'm a slasher guy. I've said that a million times. I don't have to have this real great story when it comes to a slasher. It's not necessary for me. I mean, I'm mainly there for the kills, especially for a Hatchet movie. But I do appreciate the attempt when they try to bring some kind of a story into it. And I will say, you know, when he finds out her last name and he freaks out and wants her to leave, and then when we get into this next section here in a minute, I do appreciate the attempt at bringing in a story here because I kind of like the story and what they were setting up and doing with that. Um, as far as that, you know, uh, Samson, the guy's last name Samson, Freddy Krueger's character from the first film being Mary Beth's father, which we knew that in the other one, but you know, we find out here in this next part that he was one of the ones responsible for, you know, the fire at Victor Crowley's house, and so um, for Jack Cracker to freak out like that, I did kind of appreciate that they were trying to go somewhere with it that would add a little extra to it.
Yeah, I mean, how else do you expand really on the story? Because this first one's like such a simple movie, so
Yeah.
it is nice, and I do appreciate and like actually the backstories we do get with Kane Hodder
Yes.
uh, as an actor, because I do think he nails it. Like he's fairly emotional in these
Right.
movies, and you never really get to see that in too many of his other films.
Yeah.
He's usually always in a mask, or like 10 tons of prosthetic makeup. So
Yeah.
it's nice to see him emote and stuff like that. But I didn't realize too, like that dude has no neck.
Right.
K- Kane Hodder has
Kane
no
Hodder.
neck.
Yeah.
It's literally just like stump and then head. I'm like,
Yeah, that's no,
Jesus.
you're right. And you know, I'll actually so I agree with you on that as well. Talking about Kane Hodder, you mentioned that when we talked about the first film, his performance, and when you were saying that, um, I kind of felt like I overlooked that in the first film. I mean, because after you said that, and I got to thinking back, I was like, "Wow, he actually did give a really good performance when they do that backstory part." And I agree with you. You know, here it's great too. We get that kind of moving into our next section. Mary Beth goes and she ends up talking to Reverend Zombie, and that's when she finds out that her father is responsible for the fire. We get the backstory about Victor's father having that affair. Um, his wife's nurse getting pregnant, and you know the wife placing a curse on them before she died. Yeah, I think Kane Hodder's performance is very strong there. And that backstory, I'll be completely honest with you, I vaguely remembered it, but when I rewatched this a couple of days ago, that scene where Victor's father and the nurse are kissing, and then they stop, and then suddenly you see his mom there, you know, and she's eaten up by this cancer. That was actually pretty creepy. I don't know how I forgot about that because I was like, damn, that got me a little bit. That was good. So I don't know
Yeah,
what your thoughts were, but I was like, that looked really good.
it got me too. It did. I was pretty jarred actually, because I had forgotten for the most part what happened as well, other than like her dying. But for some reason, I thought the affair I totally forgot about. So this
Okay.
was almost like a fresh watch for me, which was fairly nice. And I do
Yeah.
love that. Even when Victor Crowley was born, the nurse dies from shock or
Yeah.
whatever, and I'm like,
Right.
the face she makes when
I know.
she dies, it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I know, But yeah, I really like it. I really like adding it. I think it just adds more to like, you know, the urban legend ghost story
Right.
um aspects that we get. So I like that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Yeah, I had remembered, I remembered there was an affair, uh, and I remembered there was a curse, but that was kind of the extent of it. I didn't remember the freaky scene there with the mom, and like you, I didn't remember the nurse dying. I mean, I was sure I knew she did, but I just didn't remember how that all played out. So that was pretty cool seeing it again because it's been quite a while since I'd seen this second one. So yeah, I'm with you. I enjoyed that as well. Um, Next group there we get Rob Zombie. He's assembling these hunters after he and Mary Beth have worked this out in their plan. Um, Let me ask you this. So I had forgotten. You know, we were talking about Bob earlier, Tom Holland. That's another part that I guess that I had forgotten was this the hint at a relationship there that was her uncle. And when Victor and her are working out their deal, I said Victor, sorry, when Reverend Zombie and her are working out their deal for, you know, to go back out there, and he's insisting on, you know, he even says an uncle or something, and he's insisting that somebody comes with her like that, even though he's got all these hunters. Um, did you remember that part? Did that throw you off at all, or did you remember what was going on there?
I think I remembered because it kind of started to come back to me, especially when he was so pushy about the uncle, and then he was so keen on having the character of Trent be there. And
Mm,
I'm like, okay, I think we're no, I know where we're going with this again. So
okay,
I wasn't too thrown off by it. I was kind of thrown off more so the fact that Uncle Bob wasn't actually her uncle,
right.
and that he was spoilers, I guess, for this movie. That's probably 15 years old.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. So it was similar, but I had just, I guess, forgot about that part at all because when I'm watching this a couple of days ago, and you know they were working this plan out, I kept thinking, why? I mean, he keeps saying he would feel better if somebody went with her. Like I just didn't remember it at all. I guess at that moment, I'm like, why does he? Why is it so important? Like he's putting these hunters together. He's going to have all these people. Why is he so insistent that somebody else be with her? Like it was just, I mean, it wasn't bothering me. I kept asking myself why, because I just couldn't, for some reason, at that point in the film, didn't remember it. Now it kicked in later. I started picking it up, and then I remembered the twist where you know Bob is not actually her uncle, that kind of thing. But yeah, it just, I guess maybe it's kind of not, you know, so so many slasher movies I've seen so many times that there's nothing left to throw me off, or you know, confuse me a little bit. I mean, I still enjoy them, so that's fine. But not having seen this one as much was kind of nice because there was a lot I had forgotten that brought some things back and was helping me kind of enjoy things a little bit along the way. So, um, and this group of hunters that that he assembles, what were your thoughts on this group?
I mean, they're all
Anything?
fine. Yeah, the I really didn't like Vernon,
Okay.
who is this Hatchet II's extreme comic relief character,
Right.
who drove me up the wall. I think he was just like he was singing the gravy and the mashed
Yeah, the
potatoes
gravy,
and the
biscuits. Yeah.
biscuits. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know when that was ever funny, and I was like a kid at that point. Like I don't know when
Right.
this movie came out, but like I'm sure I was out of high school. But like I never remembered when that was a thing. Um, yeah, I just don't think his jokes land quite as well as they did in the original film. Like having the, I think it was Tucker. Was it Tucker who was the best friend in the first film?
I think that's right.
I can't remember
Gosh, yeah,
exactly.
I know who you're talking about. That may have been his name. I was gonna look and see if I had it here real quick, but um, yeah, I think I agree with you. Honestly, I didn't, and that's the note that I wrote down here about this section was just that it's not as funny. It's just I really think the Marcus was his name in the first one.
No, Marcus.
There we go.
I
Yeah,
think it's because I compared him to Chris Tucker.
Chris Tucker. You did. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that now when you said that. Yeah. Um, yeah, I didn't think again, not that I'm saying I disliked the movie, but I didn't find this movie one of the places where I like the first one better is I don't find this movie as funny. The first one I thought was really, I mean, Marcus and I should have kept my notes out. The other guy, the main guy, Josh, maybe his name, I don't remember. I really liked their banter back and forth and their chemistry. And the first one I thought was legitimately funny. This one, yeah, the jokes weren't landing. I'm with you when he's singing the song on the boat. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, I have never heard anything like this in my life. Um, the only part at all I think that I thought was funny that he was involved in, well, there's actually two. I'll give him credit for one more, but there's the part where he goes up to talk to Reverend Zombie on the boat and he's being ridiculous, and Reverend Zombie's just looking at him, and then he tries to imitate Tony Todd's voice. That I found a little bit amusing. That part
Yeah.
wasn't bad. That was kind of funny. And then once they get out there, there's a scene where he and another guy are like sitting on a log, and they just kind of start messing with each other, like hitting each other in the arm or something. And at one point, it finally hurts him, and he's like grabbing his arm and saying, "Ouch." That was a little bit funny to me, just the way that played out. But for the most part, I agree with you. This one's just not it's not as fun, the comedy part. Kills are still great. There's a lot of good things about it, but it the humor doesn't hit in this one like it did in the first one, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think it's they tried too hard. Like I think with Marcus, it's the chemistry between the back and forth with the. I think you were right. I think his name is Josh. And this one, I think the comedy lands better when the hunters are just out kind of fucking around by themselves.
Yeah,
Because I do remember chuckling at a few things with just like the hunters banter back and forth,
right.
rather than just having somebody solely try to be the comic relief in this movie.
Yeah, I
Um,
completely agree.
yeah, there's also a Leslie Vernon reference in there, so this is connected to Behind the Mask, in the same shared universe. If anybody catches
I
that
did.
one,
So I've never seen that movie. That's one of
okay.
the ones that somehow I've never seen that one, but now I'm very, very. I mean, I keep thinking it's one that I keep thinking I'm going to watch, and it just hasn't happened. But um, yeah, I'm going to have to look for that. Do you want to share what the reference is, or do you want people to go find out themselves?
So he just says because they were talking about like how the mythos of like Hatchet or Victor Crowley is like
Mm,
their town's urban legend, and then the guy behind them's like, oh, like Jason Voorhees, and they're like,
right?
yeah, and then he's like, well, in my town, we had this crazy guy named Leslie Vernon.
Oh, I missed that. Okay,
Yeah, it's
interesting.
very
Okay,
quick.
okay, yeah, I missed it. I remember the Jason Voorhees part, but I missed the Leslie Vernon thing. Okay, very cool. I will say though, the scene I don't know why the scene that I thought was the funniest in the entire movie though is the scene where you're talking about how like which is when the hunters are out messing around, you know, and during the thing you thought some of the comedy was better there. The guy and the girl that are having sex and she starts asking him, you know, do you love me? Do you love me more than this? And then finally she says, do you love me more than Jesus? And he like
Yeah.
stops and gets awkward and he's like, that's not appropriate. It just cracked me up. I think she even says, do you love me more than baby Jesus or something at that point? That cracked me up.
Yep.
I don't know why I thought it was so funny. I thought it was hilarious. Maybe because of my background or something. I don't know. But yeah, that part had me cracking up. In fact, I remember a couple of days ago when I was watching it and that happened. I'm like, that can't be what they just said. So I backed it up and watched it again. I'm like, nope, that's what they said. Yeah, that was the funniest part
she
in the whole movie to me.
she does have some funny lines, and then after he gets decapitated, there she's like, "You didn't fall asleep on me again, did you?"
Yeah,
Which I also thought was really funny.
yeah, that was pretty good. Um, from there, you know, like we get this hunt and everything going, and then Reverend Zombie reveals to Samson that it was the uncle, and or he reveals the truth about that it was Samson, the uncle, and Trent were the ones that had done that and started the fire. I think he was revealing this to, gosh, what's the guy's name? He was Sean in the other one, I think, right? This one he
Yeah, so
is
it's Justin.
Justin. Okay, yeah. He kind of reveals to him what's going on in his thoughts that if they all three get killed, then maybe Crowley will leave everybody alone. Um, I think that's the point when I remembered everything then. I'm like, okay, yeah, now I do remember this. Now I know why the uncle's there. And then I remembered the twist coming with that not really being the uncle. But, um, you know, even here, as Victor starts killing these hunters, I kind of go to what you were saying before. They're still fine. I still think I like the kills better in the first one though, because we do get so many of those shots where it's the blood splatter on the tree or something like that, rather than getting to see everything we did in the first one, right? In my opinion, which to me is kind of surprising because normally in a sequel they step it up a little bit. You try to get to that next level. That's what Terrifier has done, is it steps it up each time. I think this one pulled back a little bit.
Yeah, I think maybe the budget wasn't quite all there.
Okay.
I can't really say what the reasoning was behind it, but like you still do get a good handful of kills, like with one of the hunters gets their jaw like ripped clean off, and you do see the majority of that.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think with the even like Victor Crowley's practical effects in this movie, I don't think look nearly as good as the first movie, and I'm inclined to say it has to do with the lighting of this film because
Okay.
this movie is way brighter
That's true.
at at night than the first movie, and I think it's a huge detriment to the overall aesthetic, keeping some of those imperfections, hidden away. Like Jack Cracker's eye looks really rough in that opening scene. It would have been
I
better with a
agree.
little less lighting to kind of hide it.
Right.
Victor Crowley was so slimy and like gooey looking in the first movie. He always just kind of looked like he had like this thick layer of like wetness to him. And in this
Right.
movie, it's gone. There's
Yeah.
just none of that. So,
Yeah.
and you see it full clear, like he's lit up, like the moon is like directly in front of him the whole time. So I
Yeah.
think that, go ahead.
No, you're keep going. It's funny you said that because yeah, that in my notes I've got it looks like Victor Crowley took a shower. He just looks cleaner in this movie than he did the first one. So, yeah, I thought the same thing, and so maybe, but I hadn't thought about it being a lighting issue. So you might be 100% right. That might be the case. And yeah, there are still some good kills. It's just for some reason I didn't think this one looked as good overall. But you're probably right. The lighting probably had a lot to do with that. There, I hadn't thought about it that way. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, the cutting to the tree is total cop out, and I feel like Adam Green wouldn't do that unless there was a reason for that because of the first movie.
Okay.
Um, but like when he does have the opportunity to show the whole kill, he does.
Okay.
Um,
That's
we'll
fair.
get to, I'm sure we'll get to Justin's kill at some point, but that's definitely
Yeah.
a standout highlight of the film.
I agree. Yeah, that's actually where I was about to head next as we kind of get to the end here. Um, yeah, I've got in my notes that Justin reveals the truth to Mary Beth, and then Justin gets killed, and I have a note there that I really like that kill. So, yeah, that's where I was actually headed next. I do think that one looks really good.
I mean, yeah, he gets the axe to the back, and then he gets the sander to the back of the skull until it just
Yeah.
goes right down, and then Victor Crowley just smashes the whole thing into the back of his head.
Yes.
So good. I don't remember him getting a very memorable kill in the first movie, and I feel like he was like, "Come on, Adam, we're doing something big for me this time around."
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right.
And
That one was good.
I forgot to give a big shout out to Perry Shen here. I personally is still one of my favorite characters in this franchise, like the most reoccurring character in this franchise. But I
Right.
still, he has so much fun with it. Like when he's first introduced, he's doing just a regular accent, and then 5 minutes later, he's doing the really bad French accent, which I thought was really funny.
Right.
Um, because in the first one, he does like three accents, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, so I do love that. But yeah, like his kill's really, really good. And then we get like that. It's almost like They Live level of a wrestling match.
With
Uh,
Victor and Trent.
yes.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, like I kind of lost interest halfway through. I was like, it's a little too long. I'm like, I couldn't figure out who Trent was, like the actor, and why he seemed to be such an important showcase. But
Right.
then you said he is a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He's one
Yeah.
of the leather faces.
Yeah,
So
I'm pretty sure he's Leatherface in Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. I might be wrong, but I think that's the one he's Leatherface in.
okay, so that's definitely why it's like a Kane Hodder, Jason
Right.
Voorhees versus Leatherface, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
sure I'm sure these two stunt guys were talking about this for years. Like, let's get in a
I'm
movie
sure.
together. I bet you I can take you.
Yeah.
But he gets an awesome kill too. I love the curb stomp on the table. I think it's
Yes.
fantastic.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I actually so I think because I knew he had played Leatherface, um, I may have enjoyed their battle a little more than you did. You said you didn't know who he was and was wondering why. I knew who he was, so I was speculating that that's why he was the last guy. I mean, I kind of figured that through the whole film, um, that he would be that guy, like he would be the one. So I enjoyed their battle. It is a little long, and I think during it we kind of get some cuts to. I can't remember if it's Mary Beth and Bob talking or if it's Zombie trying to do something there. We kind of get some cuts here and there, but it is a little long. But just at the point where I was starting to think, okay, that's enough. Then we get his kill, and I do like his kill. Like you said, that the curb stomp there on the table, and the top of his head goes sliding across the table, and his eyes still blink. I really liked it. I enjoyed that part of the film, but I do see where somebody else would think that it was just a bit much as far as the length. I think the only reason it didn't bother me is because I was thinking exactly what you just said. This is kind of cool. This is Jason versus Leatherface for a minute, so it made it a little bit more enjoyable for me. But had I not known that this guy had played Leatherface, I probably would have been like, "What the fuck? Like, why is this going on like this?" So yeah,
Yeah, it's not like in They Live where you get to see Roddy Piper, like the
right,
wrestler, facing Keith David, who at the time was just a giant ripped muscle guy. Like those
right,
are two and they have like a fist fight. It's a ridiculous fist fight, but it's a fist fight. But it makes
right,
sense on their level. Like
yeah,
for some reason, everybody in this movie as well wants to take Victor Crowley on with their hands.
yeah. It makes no sense.
It makes everybody wants to try to choke him out. It's like it's not gonna happen. Like
Yeah,
you have guns, use them. They shoot him twice, and then they should maybe sprint away 20 feet because Victor's not a very fast character
right.
and start unloading on him again. But for some reason, they all drop the guns. They all do like their Mortal Kombat run in, and then they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna try to choke you out," and he's gonna try to choke me out, and then it's like clearly who's gonna lose here.
Yeah.
But that happens frequently throughout the movie. I noticed it happens like
It,
3 or 4 times.
Well, it does, and it's funny you mentioned that because I was going to bring that up here in just in a minute. Of course, then we get finally Victor kills Bob after we've
Another,
go ahead.
not just another like not showcased kill at all.
Yeah,
Just
I completely agree.
yeah,
Um,
it was wasted potential.
yeah, I completely agree. I thought that one was definitely a little lacking. But then when Mary Beth then reveals the truth to Rob Zombie because he thinks now since that Trent is dead and Bob is dead that maybe that's it, and then she reveals to him that that wasn't her real uncle. And then Victor Crowley comes out and he and Reverend Zombie are about to battle. That's the exact thing. What you mentioned a while ago was the exact thing that I was thinking here because here Reverend Zombie's got a gun, right? And it looks like initially he's holding on to it. And then suddenly the gun's nowhere and they're just like locking up like a wrestling match that you would see, on WWF. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, why did you drop the gun? But yeah, so I was thinking that exact same thing then. What did you
Yeah,
think about Reverend? Oh, go ahead.
yeah, it's so ridiculous. Like at least Reverend Zombie also has his cane or like his
Yeah,
big skull staff throughout the whole movie.
right.
Use it.
Yeah,
Please,
yeah,
just even like one swing at least. Like even if it's blocked and broken, that at least it's used in some kind of way because it's been showcased the whole time.
right. And you've
Yeah.
seen what happens to everybody else that's not doing anything. You would have thought Reverend Zombie would have done more. But yeah, what did you think of his kill? I'm curious your thoughts here.
Good kill. Like he
Okay.
gets his torso cut in half, and then I wasn't sure where it was going, so I definitely forgot where the kill ended.
Yeah, I
But
did
I
too.
thought I thought it was gonna be like ripping the whole spinal cord and the skull out, kind of like a predator moment.
Right.
But when the whole body popped up, just like skinned, I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, did not see that."
Yeah, no, I was the same way. I had forgot about that as well, and so that kind of got me last a couple of days ago as well when I was watching it. I was like, okay, yeah, I forgot about that. That looks pretty cool. I like that. Um, and then we finally get the end. We got Mary Beth and Victor kind of go at it for a minute, and it seems like Mary Beth seems like she might finally take Victor out by smashing his head there towards the end. Um, your thoughts there on the finish, the final part there?
Well, that's the second theory, right? Is that if the whole killing the bullies or the people that started the house on fire was, then maybe it was just blow his blow his head clean off, and
Yeah, behead him or something. Yeah,
yeah, like maybe that'll help. So like Mary Beth was unfortunately underutilized in this movie. She didn't really have any sort of character arc. She didn't
right.
have too much to say what was going on. She was not the main focus. I'm not going to say it was unjustified.
Okay.
It could also because like we took a break in between. Like maybe if you watch this back to back and it shows a more cohesive story, maybe like in that sense of her getting an arc throughout the end. But yeah, awesome. I mean, she does what a final girl should truly do. Don't
Yeah.
stop until it's absolutely finished.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree with you. I really like that part as well, or the ending there. I'm with you. It did seem like almost like she was forgotten. You mentioned earlier about halfway through the film, especially, and that's really the way I thought. I feel like the first half of the movie, she was the focal point. And then once the hunt began, like, once they put these hunters together and they get out there, um, she's almost forgotten. I mean, it's almost like they've got this Bob guy protecting her, but I don't know. It was almost like he was protecting her from being on screen because it just wasn't. You just don't get much from her in the second half of the movie. So uh, thinking back on it now, I mean, at the time I didn't put a whole lot of thought into it, but going back and talking about this movie, um, as much as I like that ending, I think it could have been a little bit better if we would have got more from her going into it a little bit. And it was still great. I mean, I still enjoyed it. I think it could have been better if we would have had more of her in the second half of the film, rather than her just kind of fading away and then coming back like that.
Yeah, because like this is like who you built this whole first trilogy off of, right? Like this
Right.
is the character, and yeah, just I know where this third movie is going, and I like that's the one I've probably seen, like that and Victor Crowley. I think I've only ever seen once, so I don't have too much. All I remember is Derek Mears is in it, and it
Mhm.
follows like the National Guard going in instead, and who else? There's one other character. Sid Haig is in it as well,
Right.
but I don't remember what she does in that movie. All I remember is that the army guys go in. I remember Perry Shen's ending, and that's basically it. I hope that she is also not sidelined in the third movie,
Right.
um, because that kind of just like it's just throwing shade at a character that should be probably be brought out more,
Yeah.
hold
Yeah,
more
I
screen
completely
time.
agree, especially if they're because I mean, not to just go back to her, but I mean, Danielle Harris is a big name in the horror world. So uh, you already had this character be one of the standout from the first film. Just because you've changed the actress and really you've made it a bigger name actress, why would you take away from the character? It doesn't make a lot of sense. I agree with you 100%. I don't remember much. I've only seen Hatchet 3 and Victor Crowley once. So it's going to be interesting to watch these because I don't remember other than military and Sid Haig. I even forgot that Derek Mears was in it till you said that a while ago. So I feel like having only seen this once and it's been so long ago, this one I may be more surprised by some things in this one than I was in Hatchet 2, just because I've seen it one time and it's been a long time and I really don't remember that much about it. Does the fourth one have to do with a plane?
Yeah.
crash. Is that right? Okay. Let's see. And for a minute, I was thinking the plane crash was Hatchet 3, but no, that is Victor Crowley. Okay. And I think one of the, I don't know, the Impractical Jokers. Are you familiar with the Impractical Jokers?
Yep.
I think one of those guys is in 4 or in Victor
Yeah.
Crowley.
I think it's Saul.
Oh, that might be right. I
Oh
just, no.
no, it's not Saul. I can't
Okay.
remember what the other guy's
I
names
just
are
remember
now.
one of them was in there, but I don't remember which one.
Yeah. No, there is one in there.
Okay.
Um. Yeah, I was kind of wondering too. Like, I was wondering because they added on the lore of Victor Crowley and the backstory, of his father and stuff like that. Do they keep adding more lore to his backstory?
Right. Yeah. I'm
Um,
curious
I
about that
can't.
as well.
Yeah, I can't remember for the life of me, but I'm like, I bet you they do. I bet you they do add something that would be fun.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I'm, even after the way she smashed his head in at the end there of this one, I'm curious to see how they even bring him back because I really don't remember how he recovers from that for this third one. So you may remember that, but I don't remember that.
Well, it's explained in this movie, and that was one of my gripes with it too, as well, which I forgot to bring up. But he's a repeater.
Oh, that's right.
Um, yeah, so he's
Okay,
set to repeat the last days of his life and seek revenge or whatever.
that's right.
Just
Yeah, because
doesn't
Reverend
work.
Zombie mentions that to her.
Yeah, that just doesn't work on paper.
Yeah,
If he was to be a repeater, then he would still be like a teenager because
right.
he is just a teenager when he died.
Yeah,
And I don't know, don't you think he'd just be on fire every time? The ghost,
right.
just call him a poltergeist.
Let it
That
go.
can
Yeah,
Yeah, that can materialize and he just kills people. That's fine. I don't think you need to go into any sort of in depth with having a repeater. Um,
right.
because I've watched like ghost hunting shows was my shit growing up. So like
Mhm.
repeaters in my mind are ghosts that walk the same path every day without changing. They're just stuck there. It's almost like being in limbo, right?
Right.
Victor Crowley's changing his environment. That's not being stuck in limbo. That's not repeating.
Right. No, I completely agree. And like you said, you would think like fire. I mean, they I've heard so many people when they talk about the Friday the 13th movies, there's this, in my opinion, false thing that people seem to think where, Jason's afraid of water. I hear people talk about that all the time. And then I'm like, he's really not because he attacks people in the water. But you would think, yeah, that you would think that would be the way you would try to get, over on Victor is just keep setting him on fire. Like if he's just going to keep doing the
Mhm.
same thing, fire's got to be the biggest issue. So, just every time he comes around, set him on fire and go about your business.
Yeah, but that was kind of the neat thing about the first one is that they did that, but then
True.
Mother Nature steps in and
Right.
makes it start
The
to
rain.
rain,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And which almost gave him this force of nature, just kind of unstoppable being,
That's true.
which would have worked so much better in this movie as well. Like
Yeah.
just keeping that aspect in there instead of just trying to label him as something as he's probably not.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I was saying, I appreciate the attempt at a story. I don't need it for slasher films, but when you can come up with something and make it somewhat interesting, I do appreciate that. But um, and for the most part, it's fine here. But we got a little too much. I think they went a little far with it, and it does kind of mess a few things up a little bit. So, do you remember what you rated the first one when we talked about it a while back on the 1 to 10 scale?
I was just trying to figure that out in my noodle. And I do not. I can let me see here if I all my it should be in this book, I think. I'm gonna have to scroll back if I can find it. Which
I wish I could help you out. All I remember, I mean, I have my rating, but I have it right in front of me. So I do remember that I had it just a little bit above where you and Sam had it, but I don't remember exactly what you guys said either.
okay, I think I had it. I'd probably have it at the lowest because my issue with that movie is it's a lot of running around, stopping, discussing, kill, running around.
Right.
So I was probably the lowest.
Okay.
But
Where would
I
you rate
can't.
this one on a scale of 1 to 10? Where would you put Hatchet 2?
So I do appreciate the attempts on the backstory. The gore still looks okay for the most part. Um, it's just that lighting I think ruins a lot of things. There's too many characters again in this film that take away light from other characters that I believe deserve more screen time. Oh, I'll probably go with a six.
Okay.
6 out of 10.
Okay. Um, I love the first one. I had the first one at a 7.5, just because I loved the kills. You know, it was something new. I also thought it was very funny. There were a lot of things about that one that I really enjoyed, and I had it at a 7.5. This one is down for me. I still like it. Um, I just don't think, and maybe you're exactly right. It could be the lighting issue. I don't. Some of the kills are okay, but overall, I don't think the kills are quite as good. Um, I don't like the I don't like this ensemble of characters as much as I liked the ensemble in the first one. You know, I liked Marcus and Josh and Mary Beth and Sean, and even the other characters, whether I liked them or not. The older couple, I mean, they were fine. You know, I liked the majority of the characters in that first one, and this one, there's really only two or three characters that I actually like. So characters aren't as good, kills aren't quite as good. It's still fun. It's just not as good. And so I also have Hatchet 2 at a 6, 6 out of 10. So I'm right there with you. I agree 100%.
Yeah, I just feel like I'm hoping that this franchise doesn't go to like just an okay franchise for me, because I want it to, I want Adam Green to continue to make these movies. I know,
Right.
yeah, I believe he's been trying to get a Victor Crowley 2 off the ground for a long time, and he's got quite like the personal life. If you ever decide to do some research into his,
Okay.
like, what he's gone through and stuff like that. So like I hope he continues to get to make these movies, and I hope like all these people want to come back and make them, because I do think they're a lot of fun. But unfortunately, it's just they're not, the slashers that I'm gonna jump out of my seat to go put in the Blu-ray player and turn on.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And I think I kind of remembered that almost that exact same thing. Again, I watched this a couple of days ago, and I knew I liked the franchise, but I knew there was something that, I just, I'm a huge Jason, Michael, Freddy, Chucky, Leatherface, huge fan of all of that stuff. And Hatchet's just never been at that level for me. I wish, I hope it continues. I hope we get more, and I hope something can happen to elevate, maybe Victor Crowley a little bit, but it's just not quite, at that level. I wish, I think, not to, maybe the two aren't worth comparing, but like I look at the Terrifier franchise, and I feel like that franchise has gotten better every movie. Not sure what your thoughts are, but first one I liked, second one I liked a little bit more. Third one's been my favorite so far in that franchise. It keeps getting better, and it like keeps elevating Art the Clown. Whereas so far, two movies into this, it went down a little bit. And like I said, I don't remember much about three or Victor Crowley. Um, I'm hoping that I don't remember that much, just because I've only seen them once and it's been a long time, and not that they just weren't memorable.
I'm in the same boat. I really am, because like this is a franchise that I think ended almost 5 years ago, right? Like when did
Yeah.
I can't even remember when Victor Crowley even came out.
This
But
one
it
was
has
2010, so yeah, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. I'm not sure when Victor Crowley came out.
it's too far back there for me to reach. I can see it, but um, yeah, like I do think, like, originally I do think that this is just, it was the wrong franchise, the right franchise in the wrong time. I don't know if I talked about that last time or not.
You did actually. You mentioned that a little bit.
Yeah, where if it was released now, I think it'd be picking up a lot more steam. Or if it was released in the 80s, it would have been just the
Right.
ultimate slasher on top of like Jason and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be as successful as let's say Terrifier, because I think Terrifier has the entertaining villain, like
Right.
he's got so much personality, as where Victor Crowley is just literally a monster and doesn't
Right.
speak or show any forms of emotion at all.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think it would still be tough to compete with Art the Clown, but I do think he'd be more suited now than
Yeah.
he would be back in when he came out, because then like what 2009, 2008, or whenever that first one came out, that was all torture porn and
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's
who
true.
done it slashers of the Scream franchise and stuff like that,
Right.
or remakes, right? So
Right.
um, they definitely overshadowed anything that could be an original slasher piece. But I'm glad it did get some love. I'm glad it was still went on for as long as it did. But I'm just
Yeah.
hoping that Hatchet 3 doesn't drop the ball for me.
Yeah. No, I'm 100% with you. I'm still looking forward to watching it. I have some concerns going in, but this is a franchise that I haven't visited a whole lot. So yeah, even though the this movie didn't land quite as well for me, I'm still looking forward to watching these next two and get you and hopefully Sam back to talk about Hatchet 3. Um, we'll get together and get that scheduled. Anything else you want to say about this one before we wrap up?
No, I think I almost went through like almost all my notes. I
Yeah.
can't
Anything else
really.
you have, you're welcome to share.
Yeah, no, I think we did pretty well everything I had.
Okay.
Yeah. And any gripes I had with it, anyways.
All right.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, before we get out of here, then, Brendan, you want to promote you guys' channel and talk about anything that you guys might have coming up in July that you know of?
Yes, I did get a message, so I do have some information for you. But I am one half of Our Life in Horror. My better half could not be on today. She is not feeling well. But we do movie reviews, we do bracket battles, we do tier rankings, we do lots of live shows. Um, so this, I believe, is coming out on the 19th.
Yes.
And on the 20th is the release day of 28 years later, so expect a review out for that on the 21st. And then let's see, we have something with the Bitter Wolf on the 22nd. It doesn't say what it is, it just says Bitter Wolf at 5 p.m.
Okay.
We have Infinity Pool. This is a channel. We also do channel member requests or super chat requests. So we're going to be doing Infinity Pool at 7 p.m. Eastern time with Happy Sanjo. And
Okay.
then Sam has her girls final girls panel at 8 p.m. on that Tuesday, the 24th, and I cannot remember whose channel that is on, but it will be linked to our socials. So yeah, we're actually pretty booked.
Yeah, it sounds like y'all got a lot going on, but stuff I'm looking forward to. I'm gonna have to watch Infinity Pool again because I'm really curious to listen to that episode. The first time I saw that, I was kind of disappointed with it, so I'm gonna have to go back and do a rewatch. Maybe I was just in the wrong frame of mind for that one. And Sam and I both share a dislike for Mia Goth, so maybe that had something to do with it as well. Um, although I don't know. I'm beginning to think maybe she's not as bad as I originally thought, but yeah, we'll talk about that some other time. Um, I've got so next week on my channel, I will be talking about A Quiet Place on the 23rd, and then George Romero's Land of the Dead on the 26th. So that's the next
Mhm.
two episodes I've got coming up. I've also got some other stuff coming in the future. Crawl, Poltergeist. I think Bo's going to come on with me and talk about Maniac next month. So yeah, I've got some other stuff coming. Of course, we'll be on at some point next month to do Hatchet 3, and then I'm also planning. Trying to get the next couple of lives planned and just kind of throwing that out there in some of our chats and see what you guys are interested in. I don't have any exact dates set yet, but I've been looking at a horror Jeopardy game. I saw one kind of online a little bit that I was glancing at, and I thought, okay, I can do that, but make my own. So, kind of working on that to maybe see if you guys want to come on with some other people and play some horror Jeopardy. And then somewhere down the road, I want to get you and Bo, Sam's more than welcome to come, maybe even Rob, and talk about the Universal monsters a little bit and just see all of you guys' thoughts on those. I know we've talked about them a little bit in the past, but talk about those and get you guys to maybe rank some of those with me as well. So that's some of the stuff I've got coming. So yeah, I think it'll be fun.
Awesome. I love it. Definitely sign me up for Jeopardy and the monsters. Just give me time to rewatch them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I asked Sam today on our Discord there if she had seen them because for some reason I didn't think she had, and she said that you were planning on getting them to watch them. Y'all were going to watch them, but it was just finding the time because there's just so much going on.
Yeah, we were trying to plan for like around October because
Okay.
they are of course classic monster movies
Yeah,
that always play
absolutely.
around Halloween time. So that's when I was planning on showing her some.
Okay.
But like she's only interested in like 3 of them, so
Oh, really?
the rest of them might be a struggle for her to watch. Yeah, like I know
Interesting.
she's really interested in The Bride,
Okay.
and that's probably pretty much it. To be honest, it's going to be a fight to get her to watch the rest of
To
them.
give,
Trust me.
I mean, the plus is they're not very long. That helps, right? They're all pretty short.
Yeah, but they're pretty slow, even with their slow run,
So,
even short run times.
yeah, I guess that's true. I don't know. The only one, and sorry if I'm taking up too much of your time here. To me,
Mhm.
honestly, the only one that I really find that slow, but I love these movies, is The Mummy. To me, The Mummy is slow. But I'm a fan of Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, Bride of Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Invisible Man. I love the Invisible Man. I don't know. Those all seem to go by pretty quick for me, but The Mummy drags a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. I actually watch like The Creature like almost once a year if I can squeeze it in. So
Okay.
I love The Creature. I'm also a big fan of the Universal monsters, of course, as I've seen most of them. I got that 30 pack. I'm gonna try to
Yeah.
upgrade them all to 4K this year.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I can. For her, it could be a little bit of a struggle.
Fair enough. All right. I think if
Yeah.
I remember correctly, didn't back when you guys had the podcast, I think you and Bo talked about Creature from the Black Lagoon, right?
Yes. Yep. I
I
got
thought so.
to.
I thought I
I
remembered
got
that
to.
episode.
Yeah, rewatch that one. Sam did not stay and watch that one with me.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Maybe we're all going to have to work on Sam. Get her to give it a shot because, yeah, I think
I
they're a
think so
blast. But
too.
we'll see if we can help you out there.
Okay.
All right. Well, Brendan, thanks again for coming on. Really do appreciate it. Look forward to having you on again pretty quick so we can talk about probably be next month because I know you guys have a lot going on and I've got a few things happening as well. But yeah, thanks again for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me, Sean. Anytime. I'm always available for you.
All right. All right. Everybody, thank you again for watching the video today. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. Help me continue to get those numbers up. Follow me on social media. I'm on pretty much everything out there: Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, X. Just search Sean's Horror Corner. You'll pretty much find everything other than X. That's just my Horror Corner. But I do try to follow back as much as possible. And yeah, I'll be back in a few days to talk about A Quiet Place. So I'll see you soon.